Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Rickert, for the introduction. And the topic that I'm going to present and to discuss is a little special. And I think it's a little special. I'm going to talk about the cases and causes and impacts of safety incidents in anaerobic digestions. So we all know that anaerobic digestion is a multi-benefit technology. It generates energy and it reduces environmental pollution. That's evident. Produce organic fertilizers as Carl introduced to us, and then it increases revenues. Dr. Liao just talked about the use of biogas energy for charging. But anaerobic digestion can also pose a serious risk to life and for property damage. So this is a photo that shows a disturbing scene, and several people died as anaerobic digesters. This photo was shown in the internet from a farm digester in Thailand in 2006, I think. Okay, sorry. Sometimes it goes too fast. Okay. Okay, yes. So the objective of my talk is not to paint a negative image of AD, but to raise awareness, understanding the causes and the impacts, and then promote some safe and sustainable use of anaerobic digestion. So the method, today I'm presenting something of my research, the results, preliminary results, is not yet published. So there's a method involved. So the method, literature review, and internet search for all the cases get together, and also had some short conversations with the extension workers of anaerobic digestion. And then I built a database using some regular software like Microsoft Excel and EndNote. EndNote is a piece of software for literature reference management. And then all the data are coded with the different categories, such as a date that the incident happened and the location of that. That's very important because there are multiple reports, so we have to eliminate the duplicates. If I stand here, maybe better, yeah. Okay, and then to analyze data, to answer some of the questions like where the sources of this report come from, and what are the geographical and the chronological distributions, and the causes and impacts of these incidents, and then what are the measures to mitigate these risks. So today I'm going to present some of the results that's related to 3 continents. The first one are the cases occurred in Europe. And the data comes from scholarly publications and also collected from news media. The second one is North America. All the North America cases I collected from news media. So it's a little unique, and I will give more details about that. And then the third continent is in Asia. In Asia, I spent a little more time on that and collected data from news media, also scholarly publications, and some of the final reports are very important because they were the reports from government investigation, very accurate. Unfortunately, there's not many of these reports available. And then some personal communications also provide me useful data. So let's start from Europe. in Europe, there are a group of researchers. There is a group of researchers from Italy. They did a very thorough study on these incidents, and they published the data consists of 169 cases, starting from 1995 to 2014. So covers 19 or 20 years of time. And among these 169 cases, 12%, that means 20 cases, were considered major accident. So the term major accident is defined by European Union. It says, basically it said, it's a long sentence, but basically it said major emissions, fire, or explosion leading to serious danger to human health and the environment. So they consider these as major accidents. Now, the researchers also divided all these cases according to the countries. As you can see that Germany consists of the largest part of incidents. So this is normal because Germany is the country in Europe that has the largest number of anaerobic digesters. I think they are close to 10,000 now, many more than the United States. Here is a photo showing one of the scenes that the digester had an explosion. So it's completely destroyed. Some other countries in Europe include France, Italy, UK, and they have a few to about 18 events. And other countries, all other countries, we know Europe has so many countries. All others had 8 events or 5, 10. Yeah. However, this number 169 is not a complete number. Let me show you some additional numbers that are not included in that 169. Here is another example. A study done in Denmark. They listed 2 cases. One is in Sweden, another is in Denmark. They happened before 1995. So that's outside the time frame that's studied by the Italian group. The photos, these 2 photos shows the aftermath of the Denmark incident. And that incident happened in a wastewater treatment plant. Now, there are also 2 cases after 2014. So these 2 were also not included in the 169 number. These 2 incidents happened in the same year. And as we can see that in the first one, several people were overcome by hydrogen sulfide. It's a intoxication. And while they were unloading food waste. So this photo shows where this happened. When they were inside the digester facility and people were working here, unload food waste, and they were overcome by hydrogen sulfide. And another one was damaged by a storm. Now, the same authors also provided 7 other incidents. And we can see that there are still another storm damage, and there's a lightning strike damage caused the leaking of biogas. And others include exploded digesters. And there is a very special case that the biogas powered public transportation bus caught fire. It's outside the digester production facility, but still it uses the biogas. So they characterize as a anaerobic digestion or biogas incident. Here's another one, silo with the dried sludge exploded. Exploded because of the methane produced from the biogas. And here is the biogas storage burned down. So in a total, there are 10 incidents from Denmark alone. So we can see that if we count all the other possible events from other countries, other European countries, the number of incidents would be bigger. Now, another country, Hungary, it's a very recent, in 2021, explosion again. So this is the photo that they showed in the internet. Now let's switch to North America. Basically, North America incident occurred in the United States only because I haven't found anyone in Mexico or in Canada. So let's see what was reported in the United States. The earliest one that I can track back is in 2011. So from 2011 to 2014, there were 3 incidents reported. One in New York, another in Oregon, and the third one in Wisconsin. And we can see that all these 3 incidents occurred on farm. Two of them, they showed manure digester. And this one they did not show, but it's on the farm, right? It should be a manure digester, although it's not clearly indicated. And all these will come from news brief, very short, and no details. From 2017 to 2018, there are also 3 incidents in the United States. Now, these were not from manure digesters. This one is from a paper mill in Florida. Another one is in Missouri, also explosion 2. And this one also explosion in Chicago. So let's move on to more recent years. In 2020 and 2021, there are 2 incidents. This one is from Maine. It also is an explosion, and it's a paper mill too. And a recent report showed that this paper mill will close the first quarter of this year. It still cannot start reproduction. And the explosion did not cause any injury of persons, but leaving 230 people without jobs. And this is the photo that shows the scene of the explosion. Now, more recently, in 2021, there's a very, very special case of a fatality in anaerobic digester. And this happened in Iowa, and the victim's name is Bob, and he died while performing a dive to repair a broken cable at the bottom of a 1 million gallon anaerobic digester tank. This is, again, a manure digester. Yeah, this is unimaginable. He went into the digester, and the digester was about 100 degrees. So these are the 8 cases in the United States. As I stated, all these cases only were found in the news media and not detailed investigation reported. So we only know a rough situation, and the real cause or real damage is not available. Now let me switch to Asia. Asia is different from Europe and from the United States. Asia, so far as I know, had the most severe incidents in anaerobic digestion industry. The total case is 143. The number is smaller than in Europe, which had In one report, 169, but all these 143 can be considered a major accident if we adapt the European definition. Fatalities, 266. Injuries, 219. Total property damage, we don't know how much, but it's huge. So the victims, if we look at these numbers, the victims, males died more, injured more, 5.5 to 1 compared with the females. Minimum age of victims, can we imagine? 3-year-old girl. And in the same incident, a 4-year girl died. They just fell into a digester and died. The oldest, this happened in China, okay, 3-year-old. And maximum age of the victim is 75-year-old. Is a worker in India. He's working in the digester site. He died in an incident. So I said that in Asia, the cases are different from Europe and from North America. One thing is that these incidents in Asia happen in 2 different digesters. One digester is a household digester, as you can see. They use a couple of pigs or cows. They use a small amount of feedstock to generate biogas to use as cooking fuel. So the number of these digesters are very big. Was very big, millions of these digesters. So the incident happened at household digesters consists the largest number. It's a 73%. And the others are the other digesters are just very similar to what we have been using here in the United States. They're industrial digesters. This photo was taken, I took it from a farm, in fact. And all these incidents in industry digesters consist about 27%. Now, if we look at the distribution of these digesters, we see that the reports come from different sources. The first source is news media. 83 cases were reported there. Scholarly publication, 47, and then some final reports, final projects and personal communication, 13. And if we distribute them chronologically, and then we can see that the incidents occurred at a peak in the 2020s. Okay, and a lot of reports were from news media. It is because at that time, starting from the end of 1990s, the internet becomes popular. So a lot of news media just published in the internet. So we benefit from there to get more information, to have a better understanding of this situation. One interesting thing is that a lot of reports before the internet is in use, is invented and accepted, and many incidents were reported from scholarly publications. Interestingly, what type of scholarly publications reported the most? They are the medical journals, they are medicine journals. And those are the doctors, medical doctors. They reported how they treated victims. So that's another very interesting thing, and compared with like in the United States, we haven't found those type of reports. Now, geographically, there are 5 countries and 1 region that had these incidents reported, and available for us. China is the largest country that has about 78% of the cases occurred there. Vietnam, 8.4%. Next comes Thailand and India, and Malaysia and Taiwan has only one each. And if we look at China, we see that the one particular province, it's called the Sichuan province. It has 42 cases. It has 87 deaths. So concentrated. It is because this province was the first one that disseminate a lot of household digesters. They possess the largest number of anaerobic digesters, although small. And now in recent decades, they also built a large digesters, as we have seen here. So if we look at the chronicle distribution of the cases in decades, we can see that there is also an increasing trend. This trend, these two peaks are very close to the European graph, the similar time. And then if we compare the anaerobic digester development in China, we see that there's also a peak close to that period. So the trends of incidence, the trend of number of digesters, they have some correlations. It's clear that the digester is the physical location that these incidents happen, right? So more digesters, more higher risk of these incidents. Now, there are two types of damage in Asia. The first one is a hydrogen sulfide poisoning, although this also happened in Europe, but Europe did not have so many. But in Asia, 80.6% of these cases are related to hydrogen sulfide poisoning. And this is a photo showing a tragic scene happened in China in 2018, where multiple victims died because of hydrogen sulfide poisoning. And then explosion caused by different type of operational work, repair work, consists about less than 20% of all the cases. And this photo shows one case in India in 2013, explosion and fire. And all these explosions, especially in industrial digesters, they were mainly related to maintenance work, repair of digester systems, and some of the multiple victim cases occurred when someone was poisoned by the hydrogen sulfide and others went to rescue unprotected, and they became victims too. So others very interesting, the animals that fell into the digester and the people went to rescue the animals and the people died. Animals also died. There were a couple of cases that people lost their cell phone into the digester and tried to recover and then got poisoned by the hydrogen sulfide. Now, that's another interesting thing is that the status of the digester. Most of the incidents occurred at the digesters that are active under operation. They consist of about 90% of these incidents. But there are also digesters in construction, not yet finished, not yet put into use. 7% of these incidents occurred to digesters in construction. Most of them were digesters halfway close to completion, and they already put some of the feedstock in there, but they were very careless about hydrogen sulfide, methane already produced. So that caused a few of the explosion cases and poisoning cases. There are also some cases, 9 cases, consists of 7% of the cases occurred in abandoned digesters. This is very special in Asia, especially in the household digester. Now, this photo shows a household digester. They did not use it anymore, but they did not close it. This is the opening that the people fell in, and other peoples went to rescue. So this digester claimed the free life. Now, to summarize all these causes, the Italian researchers, they built this fishbone diagram to show what are the main causes in the European accidents. Design error, component failure, such as a pump failure, pipe between digesters, the leaking, or whatever, the hood or cover fails, and equipment failure, digester itself, electric wiring, etc. And another group is a maintenance error. They listed some of the details, operational error, and other errors. But I would add one. These are all related to physical things, but I would add one that's related to mental thing. That is carelessness. Carelessness and innocence. Many of these victims, they just did not think about the danger that is there, that was there, and they ignored that. So many cases in Asia proved that, and there are also a lot of discussions about that. All these cases resulted in big impacts. The economic impact is obvious, it's more visible, and it can cause property damage. If someone is injured, then medical expenses. If someone died, then all kinds of costs is involved, including burial costs and loss of earning of the business, loss of employment and benefits for businesses, replacement service loss, etc., etc. But all these, we cannot find the exact number except for a few cases. For example, one case in Thailand, they calculated the loss, I converted into US dollars at the current exchange rate at that time, like 2011. In that case, they estimated 670,000 US dollar loss. Another case occurred in China. It's very accurate because it's a government investigation report. They calculated exact dollar amount that's a loss. It's $584,495, very exact. But it's unclear whether they included all the losses, because in that accident, 3 people died. So we can imagine that the loss is huge, but we don't know. It's a very clear picture, accurate number. And this is this photo I would like to explain a little bit. This photo it shows a scene of the accident in Thailand. It's a covered lagoon. Covered lagoon is one of the digester types, also popular in the United States. 2 girls went to play on top of this covered lagoon. The covered lagoon, the cover has a broken hole. So hydrogen sulfide went out. They got poisoned. Their father went to rescue the girls, also died. So 3 people died there. Now, when there's a victims, either death or injuries, then there's a huge impact on individuals and families, right? If someone is injured, then hospitalized, suffering. If someone in the family died, then there's emotional trauma and all kinds of stress and suffering from from the loss of family supporters, and the loss of social welfare, decrease of in quality of life, and it was some of the families, they have multiple members died, and then the family dynamics, relationships, all changed. But however, this type of impacts, there's no systematic study found. It's there. If we want to understand these incidents better, we need to have this studied. Social impacts. Usually when something happens, there's a shock wave in the local community. And there's also a negative image of anaerobic digestion in technology, the depression of employees and the work follows and loss of workers for enterprises. And also there will be political turmoil locally. But something positive is that usually is followed by some safety measures, either in the media or government actions on that to educate the people about safety. However, these impacts still, we do not see systematic studies. Now, to mitigate these risks, someone from Europe, this one is from Europe, and they proposed some of the measures, such as a high level of safety should be built for all the processes from design to construction to operation. And ventilation system should be appropriate fit because ventilation can dilute the hydrogen sulfide biogas to create a safer place. Take into account the biogas accumulation, process control systems in vehicles, when move the vehicles around. Remember that in Denmark, there's one incident because of vehicle unload the feedstock. And we certainly need to give more attention to integrate it, optimize the design and the control system. The list can go longer, but just to give some examples. In the United States, we have a lot of resources to mitigate these and educate people about the safety. The US EPA Ag-Star program, in their website, they have this Ag-Star biogas toolkit. And among them, there is a common safety practice for on-farm anaerobic digesters. A lot of information, useful information, probably some can save lives, is there available. So as a conclusion, I would say that the actual number of cases are much more than what we have known than the number that I presented today. And then cases in Europe, USA, and Asia have their own characteristics, as I explained, the differences. Not much details available in the US cases. I wish there would be investigations to see the details of these and give people useful information about that. Most of the cases in Europe and US were explosion and fire. But in Asia, most were related to hydrogen sulfide poisoning. Most accidents occurred during maintenance and repair of digesters, and the incident resulted in large impact, which needs more studies. Safety practice should be taken to mitigate the risk. Okay, so that's all of my presentation. Questions?